Please watch us closely and hold us accountable. This first update clarifies our guidelines, but we know we'll be judged on how we enforce them. Look for more communication about our enforcement policies in the coming months. Please watch us closely and hold us accountable. Okay, I will. Hey everyone, welcome to this video. This video is a tricky one to kind of navigate because there are some sensitive topics and subject matter that we need to discuss in it. I just want to put it to rest right now that this video is mostly focused on Twitch's actions and how they are dealing with problematic people rather than anything else to do with marginalized groups. And what we're talking about today is the actions of a specific member of the Safety Advisory Council that Twitch has implemented. If you're not familiar with this, introducing the Twitch Safety Advisory Council. Keeping our community safe and healthy is a top priority for Twitch. Today, we're excited to announce the formation of Twitch Safety Advisory Council, which will support the growth of our community moving forward. The Safety Advisory Council will inform and guide decisions made at Twitch by contributing their experience, expertise, and belief in Twitch's mission of empowering communities to create together. The council will advise on a number of topics including drafting new policies and policy updates, developing new products and features to improve safety and moderation, promoting healthy streaming and work-life balance habits, protecting the interests of marginalized groups, identifying emerging trends that could impact the Twitch experience. When developing this council, we felt it was essential to include both experts who can provide an external perspective, as well as Twitch streamers who deeply understand creators' unique challenges and viewpoints. I think that's an important thing to keep in mind, that they are, with this, trying to not only just have objective outside input that advise on these policies from people who have never streamed before, who don't understand the culture of Twitch. They may have expertise in cyberbullying or harassment or online issues or any kind of bullying issues. But if they don't understand the context of which these rules are being applied, you end up with things that don't work and don't make sense. So it's good that they're trying to include creators in this and that they can give their feedback too. Each member of the council was carefully selected based on their familiarity with the Twitch community and their relevant personal and professional experiences. We're excited to work with these talented group to make Twitch the best place to grow and foster a community. The creation of the Safety Advisory Council is just one way of enhancing our approach through issues of trust and safety. We will continue to invest in tools, products, policies that promote safety and well-being of everyone at Twitch. Now, obviously I'm not going to be very familiar with the people who are from outside of Twitch, but even some of these people who are Twitch creators, I'm not very familiar with. The one I was only familiar with really before everything that happened was CohhCarnage. If you're watching this video, I'm sure you're aware that one of these people have come into the spotlight recently for some of the things that they've said, some of the things that they've done. So we're gonna talk about, we're not gonna talk about that, but we are gonna talk about some of the things that Ferociously Steph has done recently. So when this blog post went live, a lot of people really took note of this non-inclusive mechanics such as voice chat. And so I looked into some of the stuff that happened around that, where people were very, very mad about this because of the statements that have been made by Steph and some other people, which we will mention in a little while, that are read as or came across as they were trying to actively remove voice chat completely from video games.
The only way to have a level playing field at the highest level of play is to have is to not have voice chat, to not have people give up their linguistic profiles.
Which isn't the case. If you do a little bit of digging and you read between the lines, or you look a little bit more beyond just the very viral clips that went out, what I feel the point is that Steph was trying to make, and I'm not trying to give an out or give excuses or anything like that, but what I believe that they were trying to say is that they need more tools and more options for voice chat for people who either have no voice, cannot talk, or don't want to speak because they fear harassment, bullying, but they still want to play and engage in chat.
I'm not going to take away voice chat from all of you. I don't have that power. I'm not even advocating for that. What I am advocating for is for people to have less, for games to have more features in place, like pings or prefabricated voice lines that your character says, to help people who don't want to speak, don't want to reveal their linguistic profile, to be able to still compete well.
Games like Apex Legends have pretty good tools like this where they have the ping system. I know Fortnite has that now. But the problem is that any time any statement was made that didn't agree with what Steph said, immediately was written off as a cis white male voice, which you can agree or disagree with, that is up to you. But I don't think that is a very helpful way to tackle this problem.
I said a lot of people with cis white male sounding voices are here telling me that voice chat isn't a problem, and that is a fact. Y'all have voices that aren't marginalized coming in and saying, just mute, it's not an issue. Everyone faces harassment. I've heard it all. You're just repeating my like a year ago.
That is not a good way to approach this, where if anyone disagrees with you, suddenly they fall into this category or that category. This isn't a constructive way to get your point across. Steph has also made other claims saying that a lot of gamers are white supremacists.
Well, no, I'm just not cool with white supremacy, y'all. It's really not that. I think a lot of you gamers are actually white supremacists. Sorry. Just a fact of how I feel.
And obviously, a lot of people take issue with that because that is such a blanket statement. That is a very offensive statement to a lot of people. It's not just to, male gamers. That's also to female gamers. That's to a lot of diverse groups of people just being lumped in as white supremacists. And the argument that Steph has given against this, which seems to be a very common stance of, oh, I was misinterpreted, you didn't understand what I said. There was comments about how if, you misinterpret what I said because I didn't say most gamers or all gamers, I said a lot of gamers. Yeah, but you still said a lot of gamers. That's not like a small amount, a lot of gamers. You might not be saying that more than 50%, but you're still saying a large majority of gamers are white supremacists. It's not fine. It's not. A little bit of racism and a lot of racism, it's still racism. Doesn't matter how you cut it. Like, there's not a level of a threshold that you can decide is okay or not. Regardless of any of the other stuff, you have been given a role in this council to represent people of a diverse background, of marginalized people, not just people from a marginalized background, but gamers in general who need someone to voice their opinions, voice their concerns, voice the changes that they want to happen at Twitch. You are a conduit for that, as is Ko, as is Cup of Noodle, as is Zizarin. All of you. You don't just represent yourself anymore. You don't just represent marginalized groups. You represent gaming as a whole and Twitch as a whole. And some of that has definitely gone to your head because, well, on Twitter you have specified that you say you don't work at Twitch, but you have been inferring very heavily that you do, or that you have more power than you do, which is none. You have no power. You are an advisor.
Part of the reason I have this job at Twitch is because of all of you. I have power. They can't take it away from me. And honestly, there are some people that should be afraid of me. Twitch supports me, so you can't stop me. I'm on the council. Deal. And you can't get rid of me. Twitch is endorsing me, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I'm just gonna dance.
Those things don't read the way that you may have intended. You may have intended it to sound like people who are against marginalized groups should be afraid because I can influence change of policies. But it doesn't come across like that. It comes across like this.
I am untouchable, but you are not, because I have something you don't have. I have friends that work at Twitter, friends that work at Twitch, friends that work at YouTube. I am fucking untouchable, but you are not.
It doesn't look good. The difference being that these things have gone viral and these are clips. These are not edited, but they are certainly snippets of a much broader conversation of a VOD or over a long period of time. They are not just like a true, accurate reflection of everything that you do or what you represent or what you are trying to achieve with this. But dancing around taunting people and saying that gamers are white supremacists, a lot of gamers are white supremacists. Don't want to misquote you there. Whether or not you believe it, you represent me and everyone. As I've said, you represent everyone on Twitch. You have been, in Twitch's words, carefully selected to represent the community. That is everyone. You can't just pick and choose who you represent. And I realize I'm spending a lot of time talking about Steph here, because there is a lot. But what really upsets me about the whole situation is how Twitch has been handling this. The CEO of Twitch had to put a blog post out about this, which should never happen. Like, it shouldn't ever reach that point. The point that Emmett was basically getting to, which if you read the blog post, they're not going to do anything about it. Twitch needs to understand whether or not they clarify in this blog post that no, they don't work for Twitch, they are not endorsed by Twitch, which Steph has also gone and said that Twitch endorses her.
Twitch is endorsing me, and there's nothing you can do about it.
You may think that by saying it in a blog post that you don't endorse the actions of this person, they don't represent Twitch. They do. You selected them. But the problem is a lot of the damage is already done, because very few people are going to go and seek that out. Very few people are actually going to spend the time to look into this and read further beyond what they are told and what they are seen and what is shown. If someone is on your council is inferring, they might not even be saying, but is inferring that they have power and that they can do these things, that is a big problem. And it does reflect on Twitch, because publicly, this is what we see. This is how people who are representing us as a community are speaking and acting. You're saying this behavior is okay, that it's above punishment. If you want people to take Twitch's rules seriously, and you want us to listen and believe that you've changed in any way, like, we don't. Because if you can't take action on those that represent us, and you can't take action on these things, then why would you take action on anything else? We would have so much more respect for Twitch if they would step up and be like, we messed up, this person isn't right for this role, we are going to actively look to replace them on this council, because while we don't endorse their opinions, and they are individuals that, you know, can do things in their lives elsewhere, but they can be a good representation of what we need here. How can we go to someone and speak openly and honestly who has such a bias against a large portion of the community? We can't. We can't trust the people on the council. We can for the most part, but this literally undermines everything that the council was created for. And I think you need to consider not abolishing the council. I think it's still a good idea in theory. And even CoCarnage said, like, this is these things that he hopes that the council will be.
This is all stuff that Twitch can easily fix. They just need somebody at the company to stand up and be like, yo, we have to do something about this. And that's what I'm hoping this council will do. When I got pinged on this council, one of the first things I asked was, are you serious about this? Like, is this going to happen? And they were like, absolutely. In fact, one of the people I talked to was brought into the company for this council.
And I think he had a lot of hope that we all had for it, where we finally want to see these changes, which never happen. You've stumbled out the gate with this, that it's just another thing where we wait another maybe year and you announce some other thing where you're going to revamp these things and whatever. And you keep saying this, but you're not doing. And action speaks so much louder than words. The other aspect of this is a Twitch ambassador. This person decided to go a much different route, where they were brought in as a Twitch ambassador, say that they want to fight for marginalized groups, they want to speak on behalf of people with disabilities who feel like their voices are being heard. And then as soon as anyone challenged what they said, members of marginalized communities are abused and harassed in gaming. If your response to this is to get mad at me for saying it, you're the problem. Yeah, I would agree with that statement that members of marginalized communities do get abused and harassed in gaming. That does happen. A lot of other groups do too, but it's not a, you can't disagree with that statement because it applies, it's not wrong. And this is where the miscommunication stuff comes in, where this person says this may be true, but you're taking the option to choose to talk to people away from others. Instead of taking that option away from everyone, even good people, they made a mute option. That is a somewhat valid point. Like it's written very rationally. There is a mute option there. But I will say that not being able to communicate at all with the team does still suck. So like having other options is fine. And then Liz and Levita, the Twitch ambassador we're talking about, replied, "No one wants to take away your voice chat, you fucking illiterate fuck." Another person who replied to Liz's tweet says, "I also take offense to you saying people like me aren't marginalized enough to have an opinion on this, even though I'm dyslexic, just because I don't agree with you." And Liz replied, "Take your dyslexic ass the fuck out of my mentions." Funny enough, misspelled the word dyslexic, which is the most ironic thing of this whole video. This is the problem, that there is bias where Liz essentially is inferring, not saying, but inferring that some people's disabilities, or they are not marginalized enough that they matter or have any value to this person. Like it doesn't, like, it's not enough. It's not good enough. It's just astounding. It's honestly astounding that someone who is an ambassador of a community, of a marginalized group, is verbally attacking people. There is a difference that a lot of people don't see when you are a content creator, that you are one and they are many. You're not just replying, like when you message someone, you are messaging one person, but they have 20, 30, 50, 100, 1,000 people hammering them with the same thing, that it can take a toll and it can get to you. You can't do that when you are in a position like this. And it's not like someone's catching you off guard on a video where you can slip, like it's a slip of the tongue. You had to press reply, type out what you said, and hit send. So there's 3 steps to that where you could have stopped. A couple days later, Liz made her account private because people are even harassing her and everything, which again, not cool. So Liz put what I assume is supposed to be an apology out. "I'm like, a little sorry I was mean to that dyslexic person, but only because you idiots have latched onto that as some sort of got you. Dyslexia doesn't have fuck all to do with voice chat, and you all know it, you disingenuous pieces of shit." What? That was an apology. That was someone apologizing. Calling someone out for saying that they're using their disability or whatever it may be as some defense or whatever, and has no time for it. Does an apology, this is an apology, and then in the same sentiment flips it to being a victim. Like, it baffles me. And in the time between this, because they were obviously the Twitch ambassador, they made their account private, they brought it back, and in the title now, it says Twitch fucking ambassador. So like, there's no remorse, and they don't feel sad about what they did. They're just mad that they got caught. That's what this is. It's not, "I'm sorry for my actions," it's, "I'm sorry you were offended." This is someone who's supposed to represent marginalized groups, and they are attacking marginalized groups. How can you take anything that they say seriously? We're all human. We all are hypocrites. We all make mistakes. But you're not even sorry about it. This is days later, and they're not even sorry about it. A statement was put out, "Took several steps back, let myself calm down, and realized if anyone else was acting how I am, I'd be disgusted. I got frustrated dealing with a lot of people intentionally misinterpreting what I was saying, and took it out on a group of people who didn't deserve it. My fight remains with people who make spaces unwelcoming towards minorities, and that's not a fight I'll ever give up on. So within that, there's an email where they've donated $50 to Dyslexic Foundation. That doesn't absolve you of what you said, because all you're doing is donating money to a charity of this thing, because it's a tactic that a lot of people use where, well, you can't get mad at me, I gave money to charity. That's what like emotionally manipulative people do. I've dealt with people like this in my family and elsewhere, where they treat you like crap, and then they give you a gift, and then they give you money, then they buy you something, so that you can't be mad. You can't be mad, I just gave you a gift. Yeah, I called you an illiterate fuck, but I gave a gift, not to you, but to charity, so maybe I'm being pessimistic on that front because of my own personal experiences, but that's how I interpret that, of you can't be mad at me anymore because I gave money to this thing. It barely even counts as an apology. You use the word, but it doesn't count. This is certainly a common trend where this term misinterpreting keeps coming up, and especially about this gaming voice chat. If you've been fighting this fight for years, like for a long, long time, how are you still getting misinterpreted? How have you not refined the way that you approach this topic and say it in a way that makes sense? It's trying to like get under people's skin and antagonize them so that it can blow up and become a viral thing. Drew Gooden did a video on this a few days ago.
Is this all part of it too? Let's recap. First, she demands that people give her money, which they do. Video of that blows up, so she apologizes to save face, but welcomes all the brand new viewers. Some of them are only there to leave hate comments because of what she said, which is unfortunate, but of course, she uses it as an opportunity to play the victim, which leads to even more people donating and subscribing because they want to cheer her up, and with that, the cycle is complete. Well done, V. Well done.
Like, it's said in the most blunt way to grab attention, and if anyone questions it, you can then be like, oh, well, it's because you hate marginalized groups. Oh, it's because you're racist. Oh, it's because of this. And it's not. People have valid concerns. They might not express them in the best way possible, but they have valid concerns when you suddenly start saying that you advocate against voice chat. You're trying to take something away because it doesn't benefit you. Your statements are unclear because you're trying to advocate for better voice communication, but the way that it's being presented is the opposite of that. It's being way too black and white, way too cut and dry, and it's not explaining what I believe you're trying to say very well. I was watching StreamScore, and they were talking about this, about how the ambassador and the council and things like that, about the misinterpretation of what that actually means.
Well, that person's an ambassador, so now to the untrained eye, like, chat, do you know what ambassadors do? What do you think they are? If you think that they are just people that represent Twitch, as I imagine most regular people when they hear Twitch ambassador would think, then now you're thinking, oh, well, Twitch must be on board with these ideas, and also maybe actively trying to like push these ideas into the mainstream.
Yeah, so I agree with that. I think my issue with ambassador program is more the naming convention.
Sure.
It just sounds like it gives them a lot more authority.
Absolutely.
More,
and that's what I'm saying. Like, that
more
can,
than it should.
That can misconstrue ideas to a lot of people. Like, people
Spotlight,
think, oh, well,
star, MVP,
sure,
something like that makes a lot more sense than ambassador.
To call a lot of gamers white supremacists and to say that the only voices that don't agree with you about this topic of voice chat, you're putting other groups of people down in a very serious way to elevate your own cause. And that's never a good thing. That's not the best approach to this. The goal is equality. The goal is to take everyone serious in a fair and open and equal way. You can't do that when you're punching down on other groups. It's a problem with Twitch. I think Twitch needs to seriously think about who they choose for these roles in future, because they say that they chose everyone on the council carefully, but then stuff like this happens, and then when you don't act upon it, that's a problem. That's a problem for everyone. It's a problem for you. It's a PR nightmare because no one no one will respect anything that you do now when there's no consistency of your policies, there's no consistency of actions. There's no reason to believe that anything is changing. You can say as much as you want, but you're not doing anything about it. And the fact that you have this Twitch ambassador as well going around now with the thing in her Twitter saying Twitch fucking ambassador, where it's doubling down to being like, kind of, fuck you, I'm still this. The bragging, the taunting, and this is these are people who are representing groups who are impressionable, looking to them for guidance and inspiration. And what you're telling people is that this behavior is okay. There is no consequence for your action, and you will be rewarded if you act like this. That's it for this video. It's a pretty long video, and yeah, I'm late to the party with talking about it because I wanted to make sure that I got a little bit more context of things. But I think I'm going to leave it on a good statement that Steph made that I think we can all learn a little from.
I hope you can learn to accept and love people as they are. That's like a really important part of us, like making a better world and a better society and a better life for everyone. If we just, stop bullying your friends, let your friends be their best selves. Let you be your best self. What's stopping you?